What's going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to episode 31 of the Roundup. In today's episode, some crazy roster mania news as PRED is back on OpTic Texas and Hugh is no longer on the squad. Hicksy has also left Surge with Neptune rumoured to be replacing him. We're going to also be looking at Vegas Falcons, who've made another roster change. Again, though, just a sideways step. And we're also going to be looking at something we've never done on the channel before, which is Rainbow Six Siege, as there has been some crazy moments at the R6 Invitational so far in Boston. We'll also be doing our predictions as well for this week's Call of Duty games, because to be honest with you, I didn't realise they were on until yesterday. I just assumed that there was another week off. So yeah, I was wrong. So we're here now. As always, though, please do like if you enjoy. It is really appreciated. And subscribe if you're new as well. Thanks for the support on the last one. I always say if we get 40 plus views in a roundup episode, for me, that's a successful episode. And we got that on the last one with FaZe winning the major. I also got that we won FaZe 1 minor one. So maybe FaZe winning does actually get us more views. But when OpTic win, we obviously see higher views. But yeah. I didn't also, regarding the thumbnail, I decided not to just go for another PRED one because PRED's had like 3 already. He was the CDL Predictions one. So I've actually gone for Rencor from the Heretics instead, just because I think Miami are definitely a team to watch for the rest of the season now, and I'm interested to see how they do. So let's get straight into it now. We're going to start with, obviously, this PRED news, which just randomly OpTic just tweeted home, and you could see that is definitely PRED based off that outline. World Champs return to Allen March 20th to 23rd, because that's obviously when Major 2 is. And I was like, that's PRED. And then they post this, and then we know that PRED is going to be back on the team. They wouldn't just be doing this. Or he's coming as a content creator, but most likely that wouldn't be the case. So we kind of knew that this was going to be the case. And then OpTic tweet, thank you, Hugh, for your dedication and passion playing for OpTic. We appreciate it as always. Best of luck. So my thoughts on the whole situation, right? Hugh was the best player for OpTic on LAN, but he only got this opportunity because of PRED's personal issues, which are obviously all sorted now, you'd hope. I think Hugh's stocks have gone up a lot, though, because he was playing in challenges before this. Like, he should be getting in the league, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be. It sounds like he's going to be back in challenges, which I just find absolutely crazy, because he was OpTic's best player at the LAN, and he was, pretty good when he was online as well. But obviously, when PRED comes back, you're going to obviously pick PRED, just because they obviously won the World Championship together and won the major together. And obviously, it was a bad performance on LAN, and they'll be hoping that if PRED's fully back to focusing, they should be able to hopefully pick off where they ended last year. But I do feel bad for Hugh, and obviously, a lot of non-OpTic fans are saying it's really poor from OpTic. Formal said that apparently he heard that Shotzi made the decision, and then Shotzi said that's not true, and Shotzi's a bit annoyed, and Shotzi's a bit annoyed about that because that's not true according to him, and it doesn't. He's obviously really good friends with Hugh, so he doesn't really want that to go around if that's not true. Then they posted this, obviously my favourite image, I think, of the entire OpTic winning champs. It's actually like the banner on my YouTube channel. It was obviously we made it into the 2025 CDL Champs thumbnail. Obviously, I almost made that when OpTic won the CDL 2024 Championship. It was going to be that instead of the all holding the trophy, but obviously there was no Kenny on the shot, so I kind of wanted it so they always have the trophy. That's what we kind of do with these thumbnails normally. So, like when Subliners won Major 4, when OpTic won Major 3, when FaZe won EWC, stuff like that. That's just how we kind of like to have it. Even when CS FaZe won IEM Chengdu, or Na'Vi won the Esports World Cup, I get that I didn't do that for the only time I didn't do it because I couldn't find a good image of it was when Spirit won the major, and I just went for Donk with his MVP instead, but I quite liked that thumbnail. And yeah, there you go. Basically, OpTic just did a video. I'll play it. Another thing though is obviously some of the players obviously said, shout out to Kyler and that. Kenny's tweet was like it sucked that we didn't get the performances we wanted with the team, and a lot of people have been criticising him on that because obviously Kenny is, at the moment is classed as the weak link of the team. His performances haven't been very good, but he did turn up at champs. Um, but I don't think the team's going to they're not going to get rid of Kenny because it sounds like he's the in-game leader as well. And then Pred tweets back with the champs, and I'm happy for Pred, but I'm sad for Hugh at the same time. But the whole situation, in my opinion, is that and obviously you can see there Pred now has the professional player for OpTic again. I think in the long term this is going to be better for OpTic. I think if Pred can get to back to how he was playing on MW3 and on MW2 for Seattle Surge, I think OpTic will be back up there again because the result at LAN was a disgrace. People do say if OpTic had got like top 3, what would have happened? Would this be a different situation? We don't know. We're not inside. We don't have inside information. This wasn't talked about by any like CDL Intel, Ronnie Intel, the Zoo Mafia. No one knew about this until OpTic randomly tweeted it, so it was all under the radar. I think that it's going to work out for OpTic. Now, will they win champs this year? I mean, that's way too early to decide that. Will they win a major this year? I'd like to think they could. I mean, my prediction was that they would. I think I predicted Thieves to win 2, OpTic and FaZe to win 1, and obviously FaZe won the first one, so we'll have to see. Um, but obviously you can see he's quite emotional coming back, because obviously he probably, as a Call of Duty player, most of the time you will talk about being on OpTic's team. Pred finally got to be on OpTic's team after a really good spell with Surge on Vanguard and MW2. And then after 1 year, straight after winning the champs, he was gone after 2 games. So you can understand why it was a bit of like a shock for everyone. Anyway, moving on to some more roster mania. Now, this kind of does have Hugh tied up a little bit. So it was unfortunately it was coming. I knew it would be, and I'm really disappointed for him. But ultimately, as he says himself, he didn't play well enough. So Hicksy has been released from the Vancouver Surge team. I think he was going into the major, he was deemed the weak link of the team in terms of his slam ability, and unfortunately just hasn't worked out for him, and he has been dropped. And he says the haters can SMD. Thanks to all the support. Thanks to everyone that showed support. He'll be back again, and he obviously puts like the lab, like the vial emoji, which is like the lab. So he's going to go back to work on what he needs to work on, and then hopefully we'll be back in the league. I think he should be back in the league, but he can't do this again in terms of like dropping like 0.8s regularly. On that ultra team, it wasn't as bad because he was making the rest of the players play better, if that makes sense. A bit like how Envoy did last year. But yeah, they need to do better. He needs to do better. But look, he's a great player. I can't say that. I just watch him. Do you know what I mean? And I like him. And I hope that he gets onto another team before the season ends because he had to wait such a long time to get back in the league after coming second at MW2 champs. Didn't get to be in the league at all last year, and then's only gone after 1 major. So apparently there was 3 players that Surge were looking into: Neptune, Afro, and Hugh. Now obviously Hugh was on this team last year with Brezzy and obviously Northorn and Boozer, who was still there. Afro obviously was in the league with LA Thieves for a little bit last year, but got dropped. And then Neptune, who hasn't been in the league for a while, even had a bit of a stint on Halo since he was last in the league. But it sounds like they've decided to go for Neptune. However, Abuza says that isn't true. But Prize Picks has it as Neptune over or under 26.5 kills on map 1 in their next game. Nothing's been announced yet, but obviously the games start on Friday, so I'm assuming that we'll probably get an announcement tonight. I'm obviously filming this on Wednesday because I didn't actually know until Tuesday night that there was matches on this Friday. I would expect there's going to be an announcement tonight about Neptune, but obviously that could be wrong. So we'll have to see how he does. Everyone else, apart from this next one, have kept the same rosters. Now I'm a bit surprised. I think Paul X has done enough to keep his place just for now, but You know, he said he would dig them out of the hole. I think he did okay in the end. And to be honest, I think they'll give him another. I mean, they could drop him if he has a couple of bad online qualifiers, but if he go up to the major and then he performs bad there, that's when they might cut him. Or if he plays well, they'll keep him. So Vegas Falcons, yes, here we go. Right. Um, so WXSL will now be back into the starting lineup after being dropped after like 3 matches in places of Rockass. So Roxas is gone. He was actually in from the start, so now there's only Xnid from the start. Many are wondering about Kicks because obviously it's their best play. He still remains indefinitely out. That's a shame for Kicks. I mean, for Falcons because obviously he's their best player. Unfortunately for them, it is going to be another split of without a win. They are going to have 0 points after Major 2. I'm sorry, I have no faith in this Falcons team. They had the chance to go to at least a Game 5 with the Royal Ravens and they lost 3-0. What can I say? What can I say about Falcons? King played okay. Xnid's okay. Kicks was their best player by far. King of Body was terrible. I think Duam's terrible. WXSL's pretty average. Roxas was average. And did I say King of Body? He was rubbish. I feel like there's another one I've missed. Look, I think it's good that they're giving the Saudi players opportunities, and the Vegas Falcons ladder was good. I think a lot of the challengers pot has gone into this like into the challengers pool. Challengers opens at the majors have probably come from Falcons pockets, but I think that next year they are going to go for a God Squad. I think this year's like a, welcome to the CDL type of thing for the Falcons. They're going to get a reality check that maybe the Saudi players just aren't good enough. I mean, I think Kicks is good enough to be in the league, and Xnid maybe as well, but the rest of them I just don't think are. Yeah, I could see them going for a God Squad next year. Depending on how like Thieves do at Champs. If LA Thieves do bad at Champs, there could definitely be a possibility where um they might be restricted free agents. Um, Not all of them, obviously, but I mean, that could definitely happen. We'll have to see, obviously. Same goes for like any team, really. They could definitely pick up some better players next year and not go for the Saudi route, but we'll have to just see. Right, so now the last part of the Call of Duty segment, which is kind of crazy. Like I said, these episodes are a lot shorter now. It's hard to, whenever there's no matches, it's really hard to do like more than 25 minutes. But there hasn't really been too much news. Like we're obviously doing R6 for the first time because there just hasn't been too much to talk about. But I need you to get my predictions in as we do every week. ASMR. Spud ASMR. Right, 11 matches this week. Let's do our predictions. Do you know what I should have done? Now I could go back on every roundup episode and check this, but I might have to see every like online qualifier how many predictions I actually get right. Like not the score, but like which team. Because the score's too much. I do that for the Premier League anyway on Twitter. Right, LA Thieves versus Ravens. 3-1 to the Thieves. I think the Ravens might take the search just like they did at Major 1. Breach versus Falcons. 3-0. FaZe versus Surge. 3-0. I'm so disappointed in the Surge, honestly. I had them come in top 4 or top 12, but I was hoping it'd be top 4 and it was top 12. So that's Saturday's matches. I'm expecting these to be pretty quick. Friday's matches, so Saturday's matches, we have 4, including FaZe OpTic. Wow. Gentlemates versus Breach. Ooh. Now, obviously, Gentlemates played well at the major, but they obviously didn't win a match. Same with Breach. But I mean, Breach were disappointing, I think. Not to get to come top 12 as well. Are they onliners? Obviously, Cammy was someone that could have been potentially in the chopping block as well after his performances, but they're keeping him. Obviously, we know Breach's financial issues. They almost went bust, so I could just see them keeping that roster for the entire season. It's more cost efficient. I don't know who's going to win this one. It's going to be 3-2 either way. I'm going to go with 3-2 to Breach, but it could be 3-2 either way. Heretics versus Rocker. I'm going to go with 3-1 to Heretics. I know Rocker played well at the major, but then Heretics did get top 3. And obviously Rencor looks really good, Real looks really good. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Heretics 3-1. FaZe versus OpTic. Now, I'm going to take into consideration that PRED has obviously just flew from Australia to the States literally like a few days ago. He's been playing like Australian challenges, if that's even a thing. Like, he hasn't been really getting proper reps. So I think this is going to be quite a difficult game for him. And people are going to go, oh, this is what everyone you should have dropped to. Like the rage baiters, you know what I mean? On Twitter. I'm going to go 3-1 FaZe here. But I would be shocked if FaZe did not win this series. And I know Draza will probably start opening his mouth. And fair play, he won the major. He's a world champion anyway. Won the Esports World Cup as well last year. He's entitled to do that. But I think that this is just it's almost like a practice match for OpTic, this one. And I think it's actually a good team to play against, rather than playing against like a Falcons and just getting your hopes up. Then we have Cloud9 versus Toronto Ultra, which I actually think is going to be a good match. Ultra were disappointing at the major with top 6. Cloud9 got top 8, but were very close to a top 6. No roster changes. I'm going to go with 3-1 to Ultra, though. I think they've just got a bit too much in the SMG department with Joe Deceives and Kleenex. Then we have Sunday's matches. I've just seen the first one and I really wish I hadn't. This game will be done within 40 minutes, maybe. Falcons 0, Thieves 3. Like, it's so easy. Like, they've got no chance. Have they even played the Falcons before? I don't think they have. I actually feel bad for them. They're going to get absolutely decimated. The hard point, I think, will be like 250 to... If they don't get... If Falcons get over 100 points in that hard point in the first map, I'll actually give them credit because it's not happening. Ravens versus Ultra, though. Now, this was obviously the reverse sweep from the Ravens at Major 1. Ultra obviously got reverse swept by the Rocker in Minor 1. I'm going to go with 3-1 here to the Carolina Royal Ravens. They were my dark horse for this season. And I think so far they've kind of shown they're a bit of a dark horse. You know, they've already got nearly more CDL points this season than they did last season. Like, that's crazy. Obviously, they got the minor points as well. Surge versus New York, though, is a very hard one to predict. I'm going to go 3-2 Cloud9. You know, Cloud9 were my prediction. I thought they were going to be the 4th best team this game. I mean, I think now it's definitely Royal Ravens are in the top 4. It's between them and Ultra for that 4th spot. Is it a 4-team league, though? No, it's not. It's probably still a 3-team league. But I would say you could argue it's a 5 with Ultra and Carolina, but... I mean, Heretics, was it a lucky major for Heretics? I don't think so. I think they played really well. It's hard to tell. It's way, like I said, it's way too early to decide what teams look like right now. And then we have one final match, which is OpTic versus Minnesota Rocker. And I'm going to go with 3-2 to OpTic. I think it'll be a really close series, this one. But I am going to go with OpTic because I just think that they'll have a little bit too much for the Rocker. But Rocker looked really good at the major. I thought Gio was excellent. So like I said, there's not going to be an MVP ladder because there hasn't been any matches. Why would it have changed? It's going to be, so it's currently at week 6 because there was obviously the online qualifiers, the minor tournament and the major. So after this week's matches that are coming up, then we'll go on to week 7. We're just going to do it like every week there's matches, if that makes sense. Right, now we're going to do something we've never done before. We have done Call of Duty predominantly on the roundup. It is arguably a Call of Duty podcast type of thing, podcast video. We've obviously also done a little bit of Counter-Strike. We've had a full Counter-Strike episode pretty much, so that's something. We've done like a couple of F1 sim racing stuff. Now that's actually going on as we speak. I've not watched a single bit of it, so I'm not going to lie and say I have. As well, I've not watched any R6 this invitation. I've watched some R6 before, but I haven't watched any of this invitational. Now R6 is really fun to watch competitively. My only issue is that because it's so tactical, you're waiting like 2 and a bit minutes for the action to start. It's really slow paced. So the reason we're going to talk about it is because of a certain matchup. This one, Dark Zero versus M80. Wow. Some absolute crazy stuff has gone down, and I'm going to show you that now. We are actually going to talk a little bit about the upcoming games, because I am going to watch the upcoming games, depending on when they start. I don't know if these are UK times or not. Obviously, this tournament is in Boston, so I highly doubt that they're playing at 3 p.m. UK time, because that would be like, what, like 10 in the morning? I mean, they could be, but... Right. So, Dark Zero and M80 was won by M80. Sorry, it was won by Dark Zero, and then this happened.
Lower bracket run begins. Hopefully they're going to be able to be a bit more behaved in the lower bracket. Bodega still not happy.
They say in politics, if you're talking, you're losing.
Yeah.
There's been an awful lot of talking going on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like DZ cares much of an inch.
A lot of words being exchanged. Bodega's he's a man of many words, and he'll be talking for a while about this, I'm sure. Jeez.
Who says esports is boring?
Crazy, right? And then Dark Zero tweeted this after the match with just like speeding it up with loads of like crazy music. So, following an altercation with a fellow coach at Rainbow Six Siege's major invitational, it wasn't another coach that was a player, but I'm pretty sure it was a player. Unless the coach, it could be the coach actually. I never thought about that. It could actually be the coach. But basically, apparently the reason... Look, I don't know too much into the situation. I didn't watch the match. But apparently the reason that Bodega was annoyed was because of how Dark Zero were playing. But yeah. So, following an altercation with a fellow coach at Rainbow Six Siege's Invitational, M80 coach Bodega has now been banned from Blast R6 tournaments for 2 years and fined $10,000. So basically, it's like Counter-Strike. So if you've watched Counter-Strike, there's Blast, there's PGL, there's like IEM, Intel Extreme Masters. There's multiple different like companies that host these events. So Blast is one of them as well that does Counter-Strike. So basically he can't take part in any Blast R6 tournament now for 2 years. So if there was an R6 tournament that was hosted by, let's just say, PGL, like obviously that probably isn't going to ever happen. I mean, it could. It might have already happened. I actually don't know. Like I said, my knowledge in this is not great. First of all, why the fuck is that on trending? I can't believe that. Right. $10,000 as well. A major misconduct penalty. And that will expire at the conclusion of the 6 Invitational 2027. So he's arguably he can't take part in the next 2. M80 had to finish this event without a coach. They obviously got eliminated. They put a jersey on the coach's chair, which I thought was quite funny. And then also the team manager, Igor Vivas, receives a minor misconduct penalty with a warning in response to his behaviour in the aftermath of the altercation. Bodega tweeted something like nonsense about it, but yeah, it was ridiculous from him. You should not be doing that. The other thing I wanted to show you was this. So, Team Secret dropped Virtue after losing. Didn't see this coming at all. After all the engineering work I've been putting in, one bad tournament's now left me looking for teammates. The M zone, I'm not finished yet. And then Zypher, who was actually the CEO, has taken this picture which has all the players who are clearly, you know, they're gutted because they've just been eliminated from the tournament. And there is a Virtue is there not looking at them, and he's sat in the chair not looking. And then he responds with this: I was almost crying, couldn't look at anyone, what the fuck. He's obviously annoyed, and you know, rightly so. He then tweets, God forbid you cry after thinking you got eliminated from the tournament and you don't want people seeing you cry, so you have your head down on your desk. You might get kicked for it. Grown men don't cry, forgot about that. People will go like, oh, it's a game, but at the same time, this is like their job, you know, they get paid for it, they get money for it, it's a competition. People are competitive, I'm competitive. So yeah, it's really, really like stupid that would actually that your CEO would tweet something like that. Yeah. Look, I don't know much about Virtue, if he was any good or how he played or like, you know what I mean. But hopefully, and also that tournament was a $3 million invitational as well. I actually never read that bit, so it's such a big tournament, you know. But yeah, I do feel bad for him. So I actually wanted to look at this. So now we're down to I don't know how this works. I'm not going to lie to you because... So it says there's 3 games left. There's Unwanted versus Razar Company, FaZe versus Space Station. Look, FaZe and Fury are the best teams in Brazil. Arguably the best teams in the game. Thanks to one of my Twitch viewers, I found out BDS are one of the best European teams. So, I don't know how this actually will work, because they'll play each other, and then on the Saturday is 2 matches, and then obviously the final is on the Sunday, which is a best of 5. These are only best of 3s. My prediction is... I actually don't know. I actually have no idea how this works. There's got to be like a bracket somewhere. My prediction was, is it like the loser of this goes home, the winner goes through to the semi-finals, or I actually have no idea how it works. Will it have like a bracket here? Oh, here we go. Perfect. This is what we needed. Yeah, so there is a lower bracket, which I expected. So these are the lower bracket teams. So Space Station versus FaZe, Raz Unwanted. So the losers go home, the winners will go into that semi-final. Ah, right, okay, right. So BDS/Furia, whoever wins that goes to the grand final. Yeah, it's just like Call of Duty, this. Just like a major bracket. So let's say Furia beat BDS 2-1. Furia go to the grand final. BDS will then end up playing the winner of either this match. No, right, hang on. I'm going to make this a bit easier. So let's just say FaZe won and Razar Company won. FaZe versus Razar, Unwanted and Space Station go home. Whoever wins FaZe versus Razar would play the loser of BDS and Furia. And then whoever wins that will play the winner of this match in the final. Right, okay, that's a bit easy. Right, I'm just going to go with Furia to win, because the last time I watched like a major, like an invitational R6 match was when W7M won against FaZe, I think it was. And then Furia signed all their players, so I'm just going to go with Furia to win. But I will actually try and watch that though. As long as it doesn't interfere with the Call of Duty times, I am going to try and watch that. Right, that's going to be the end note of this episode of the Roundup. A bit of a different one, just because I needed to obviously fill some content in. But yeah, the R6 stuff was good. We'll talk about it next week as well, who won the Invitational as well, briefly. Even if I don't watch it, I'll have a brief conversation on it. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully the matches will be good this week for both Call of Duty and R6, and obviously any other esports as well. I actually have been watching a bit of Asian Valorant as well last week, which was quite good. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.